Some people have a strange ability to walk into chaos and immediately become useful. The car will not start, the Wi-Fi is down, someone is crying, the plan has fallen apart. Everyone else is frustrated, frozen, or waiting for someone to take over. And then there is that one person who goes quiet for a second, looks at the situation and says, "Okay, let's figure out what's actually happening." They are not always the smartest person in the room. They are not always the most experienced, and they definitely do not always know the answer straight away. But something in their brain reacts differently when things break. Where other people see stress, they see a sequence. Where other people feel helpless, they feel curious. And where other people ask, "What if this goes wrong?" they ask, "What can I try first?" So what is the psychology of people who can fix almost anything? The first thing to understand is this: fixers do not start with certainty. They start with movement. Most people think confident people take action because they already know what to do. But in many cases, it works the other way around. People who fix things have learned that action creates information. If the laptop is broken, they do not need to know the full answer. They just need to test the first thing. Is it charged? Is it connected? Did it restart? Is the error message telling us something? That sounds simple, but psychologically it is huge. Because when a problem appears, the brain often wants one of two things: escape or instant certainty. It wants to get away from the discomfort, or it wants someone to promise that everything will be fine. But fixers are usually better at staying inside that uncomfortable middle space. The space where the answer is not obvious yet. The space where things are messy, unclear, and slightly stressful. Psychologists sometimes call this tolerance of ambiguity. In simple terms, it means you can handle not knowing yet. That little word, "yet," is important. To some people, "I do not know" feels like failure. To a fixer, "I do not know yet" feels like the beginning of the process. That is one of the biggest differences. They do not see confusion as the end. They see it as the first step. This is also connected to something psychologist Albert Bandura called self-efficacy. That simply means your belief that you can handle a specific situation. Not blind confidence, not positive thinking, not pretending everything is easy. Self-efficacy is more like an inner memory that says, "I have dealt with problems before. I may not know exactly how to solve this one, but I can probably take the next step." And that belief changes behavior. People with higher self-efficacy tend to try for longer, recover faster when something does not work, and put more effort into difficult tasks. Not because they never doubt themselves, but because doubt does not immediately stop them. So where does that belief come from? Usually, it comes from small wins. A child tries to repair a toy, and it works. They press the right button, and the screen turns back on. They help calm someone down, and the room feels safer. They make one useful decision during a stressful moment, and something changes. That moment teaches the brain something deeper than the actual skill. It teaches, my actions can affect the world. And once someone learns that, problems start to look different. A broken thing is no longer just a threat. It becomes a puzzle. This is why some people get strangely calm when something goes wrong. They are not calm because they do not care. They are calm because their brain has a different relationship with the problem. Instead of thinking, "This is happening to me," they think, "What part of this can I influence?" That mindset is called internal locus of control. It means you generally believe your choices and actions can affect outcomes. People with a more external locus of control are more likely to feel that life is controlled by luck, fate, other people, or circumstances. And of course, sometimes life is unfair. Sometimes things really are outside your control. But fixers have a habit of searching for the part that is still movable. They may not control the whole situation, but they ask, what can be checked? What can be changed? What can be tried? Who can be called? What is the next smallest useful step? That is why they often seem so capable. They are not solving the entire problem at once. They are shrinking it. A person who panics sees one giant disaster. A fixer sees parts. The car will not start becomes battery, fuel, key, engine, weather, warning lights. The project is falling apart becomes deadline, missing task, unclear owner, next action. Someone is emotionally overwhelmed becomes listen, slow down, reduce pressure, find one immediate need. This is one of the hidden skills of fixers. They break chaos into smaller pieces. And once a problem has pieces, it becomes less frightening. But here is the part people often miss. Not every fixer became that way from healthy confidence. Some people learned to fix everything because they had to. Maybe they grew up in a home where adults were overwhelmed, absent, unpredictable, or emotionally fragile. Maybe they became the person who stayed calm because no one else would. Maybe they learned early that if they did not solve the problem, nobody was coming. For these people, fixing is not just a skill, it is a survival strategy. They are useful because being useful once made them feel safe. They are calm because panic was never an option. They are responsible because someone had to be. From the outside, this can look like strength, and sometimes it is, but sometimes it is also exhaustion wearing a competent face. You can usually tell the difference by watching what happens when they are not needed. A healthy fixer can help, then let go. An over-functioning fixer cannot relax until everything is under control. They give advice nobody asked for. They hover. They take over. They feel anxious when someone else does things differently. They may even feel irritated when a problem remains unsolved because unfinished chaos around them feels like chaos inside them. That is the shadow side of being the person who can fix anything. People may rely on you so much that they forget you also need support. They may praise your competence while quietly handing you more responsibility. And after a while, being capable can start to feel like a trap, because if you can fix everything, people expect you to. But there is another kind of fixer too, the curious fixer. This is the person who genuinely enjoys the gap between broken and working. They do not just want the problem gone. They want to understand why it happened. They will take apart something that already works just to see how it works. They will read instructions for fun. They will explain the cause of a problem with far more detail than anyone asked for, not because they are showing off, but because discovery gives them energy. To them, competence is not only useful, it is satisfying. The broken chair, the confusing app, the tense conversation, the failed plan, all of it has a pattern hidden inside it. And the fixer wants to find the pattern. This is why fixers can be so valuable in a crisis. They remind everyone that broken is not always permanent. A situation can feel impossible when you are standing too close to it. But the fixer brings a different message. Slow down, look carefully, test one thing, then test the next. And this is something anyone can learn. You do not become a fixer by suddenly becoming fearless. You become one by collecting small experiences where your effort changes something. You make the call you were avoiding. You tighten the screw. You ask the question. You look up the first step. You try before outsourcing. You stay with the problem for 5 minutes longer than usual. That is how self-efficacy is built. Not through motivation, not through telling yourself you are powerful, but through tiny pieces of evidence. I tried, and something moved. Over time, those moments add up. And eventually, your brain stops seeing every problem as proof that you are helpless. It starts seeing problems as invitations to engage. That does not mean you will fix everything. Nobody can. But the real psychology of fixers is not that they always know the answer. It is that they do not collapse just because the answer is missing. They stay present. They look for leverage. They test reality. They separate emotion from information. And when everyone else is staring at the disaster, they are already asking the most important question: what can we do next? So if you are one of these people, maybe this explains why others always turn to you. And if you are not one of these people, maybe this explains why you freeze when things go wrong. Either way, fixing is not magic. It is a learned relationship with problems. And sometimes, the first step is not knowing what to do. It is simply believing that one small action is still possible.